Hey guys, this is the first episode of Getting From 8 to 9, where we talk about scaling businesses. I am here with the man, our guest, Gary Vaynerchuk. So Gary, my first question is, when you hear the word scale, what does that elicit from you?
You know, for me, it just means grow the thing you're trying to accomplish, right? And so I think scaling comes in many different forms. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was a kid, it meant more money in the register at Wine Library. Okay. With Vaynermedia, it meant more people. I don't know why, but that's how it meant. With my life today, it actually means scaling my impact of things that are clearly working, that are tried and true, old school and new way methods. So scaling's meant many different things for me over the years, but it all means pointing the arrow up in one way or another. And honestly, it's funny where I'm ending this in my mind on the sentence, scaling happiness has become an obsession of mine. And that gets into a lot of interesting territories. But so scaling means grow.
Okay. So for those people who don't know, you helped your family business, Wine Library, scale phenomenally in a short amount of time. Yep. And then you started Vaynermedia. So did you always know that you were going to have a parent company, or did you start Vaynermedia and then kind of create?
I didn't know that VaynerX would exist, which houses PureWow and 137 PM, our publishing media sites, and Vayner Speaking now, and Tracer, and Sasha, which is a new agency for small businesses. No, I don't. You know, it's funny. I told AJ the other day, it's funny to see, well, I don't see Madison Square Garden, but behind me somewhere, the curtain's down. But I remember the day I sat courtside at a Knicks game, and I was with my brother, and I was blown away. Like, I truly had I can't believe this is something I'm doing.
Right.
And it was funny. I said to him, so that happened. We're like celebrating this moment. I rarely smell roses, but I definitely did in this moment. And then I said to him, you know, it's funny. My whole life, I've always known or thought or believed that I will buy the New York Jets, which is an amazing business accomplishment.
Correct.
But I never saw anything in between. And that's actually the answer to your question. I do what's in front of me, and I believe it's a good step in a direction to what is my massive macro, which is to create an opportunity for me professionally, to create a potential opportunity for me to acquire my favorite football team. So I didn't know where Vayner would take me, but I knew building a media company around my skill set at scale that relied both on my IP, but also my human ability to be a good boss and keep people around, because that's the vulnerability of a client service business. I knew I was unique. I knew I had unique vision, and I knew I had unique HR, EQ. You know me. You actually weirdly know me pretty well in the scheme of things, because we've spent some time together. Like, you have a much better read on me today than you did when you first became interested in me. Yeah. And I'm sure for you, much more than the majority of people watching this, it makes sense to you of why I thought I could pull it off, because I knew that I had a unique personality that made this model work, which will then set up my next chapter. Right. So I didn't know it would take the form of a holding co with multiple businesses, but I knew in the micro that it was going to build the next opportunity.
What happened to make, what was the point that you decided I need to establish a parent company? And then
the acquisition of PureWow became something I wanted to do, and that started it in its most practical sense. But then just being an entrepreneur, right? Like, there was a lot of things I was asking Vaynermedia to do. Sasha is just a culmination of 4 things that we did at Vaynermedia that we now do under Sasha, because Sasha's staffed and built in a way to maximize those SMB efforts, where the majority of the people at Vaynermedia are their Fortune 1000.
Right.
So it's about containers.
Yes.
And then merchandising those containers.
And it gets easier as you now have put that structure in place.
Yes, because what you end up doing is there's a big difference between a separate company and a separate division. And when a company gets too big like Vayner, divisions struggle to matter. Right. Whereas as a separate company, they can. And I can also give autonomy to leaders.
Right. And they have their own individual identity.
Yes.
And yes, it's not the tail wagging the dog.
That's right.
Okay. So what is one thing that, a challenge and a positive thing that you took away from scaling Wine Library that you've brought into all of these other things that you've done at VaynerX?
I mean, Vaynermedia and VaynerX are the complete, byproduct of being an operator from 22 to 34. Everything. I mean, I took 12 years of massive experience.
Right.
Of taking something from 8 people to 100 people, from 3 million in revenue to 60 million in revenue, working in a family business dynamic, not having any dollars, at 3 million doing 10% profit.
Were you managing the people at that point? Like, what was the structure?
Yeah. When I walked in at 22, I was an 8-year veteran of that business already.
Right.
So literally from day one. That was May of 1998. My dad already had been renovating his home. He's a builder at heart. I was there 10, 11 hours a day. My dad would show up for an hour a day back then. After he was done with the house, he was there all day. But in that year or two that he was finishing off his renovations, gave me the ability to establish my autonomy, which was already there even when I was in college and visiting during, like in the summer of my sophomore year of college, when I'm 20 years old, I am the fundamental boss of that store, besides my dad and my cousin Bobby, but I was in it. And by the way, you're talking about 7 people. It's a liquor store. There's like 2 cashiers, a stock, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean?
Right. It's not like it is here.
Correct. Whereas the next 80 people I hired from 1998 to 2007 or what have you, they were all my hires.
Right.
I made all those hiring decisions.
Okay.
So I was an operator. I am an operator from the get.
And when you had to hire those 70, 80 people, did you stay as intimately involved with the decisions and the day-to-day, or did you have to hire people and kind of put a buffer in between?
I created management.
Okay.
But I was still very involved. It was small.
Yeah.
I feel like that's small. I feel like I can manage. Maybe I have capacity. Look, I think to be a great manager, you have to be emotionally strong. So I think my emotional intelligence is all time. I just genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
And so 80 for me was a piece of cake.
So then we transition here.
That being said, for clarity for everybody in the show, and especially the way you're structuring it, I had store managers who were allowed to hire stock boys and girls at $12 an hour, but I still had enough capacity at 15 hours a day, 12 hours a day, actually back then 12 hours a day, to also interview that person. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel that was a waste of my time because I was working 12 hours a day and it was my baby, but there were times where I didn't believe in someone that I allowed Ray Prado or Rich Dio, the manager of the store, to make that call.
Okay.
So I was willing to put in the work, but not for the sake of making every call.
Right.
Because I was learning. I would interview you, Rich Dio would interview you. I'm like, I don't know about her. Dio's like, I love her. I'm like, go with your gut, go with it.
Yeah.
Then when she succeeded, I would be able to come to him 9 months later and be like, great job, Rich. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And then when you failed, I would be able to be like, Rich motherfucker, you need to start listening to me more. So what I like doing is I don't want to micromanage. Yeah. I don't mind being part of any process. At Vayner at 1,000 people, I'm definitely like in a totally different place of that.
Yeah. And how quickly did that change? So you started Vayner. Acquired. Wow, how many years later?
Many years later. The X level started, 2 years ago, so 7 years later.
Okay.
I wasn't involved really in the first 2 years of Vayner. We started Vayner in summer of 2009. I really became the actual CEO in September 2011.
Because you were still at Wine Library?
Because I was still part-time at Wine Library. Part-time Crush It came out in October after May. That exploded, so the Gary V thing started happening.
Got it.
I was also actively investing, so I was VCing. And I didn't like it. Like, client services suck. and I wanted AJ to, baptize by fire.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things going on. So that 2009 to 11, we got to like 27, 30 people, a couple million revenue. And then I took over and we went from 3.7, I think, million at that point. I was getting all the clients. AJ was really managing operations. It was a real CEO, salesman, COO kind of thing. But then I became very operational. When I'm a CEO, I'm as much the CEO as I am the COO. I'm extremely operational. There's people who think I'm the mascot of Vaynermedia now, right? That I'm the Gary V character, like who actually runs the business. We don't even have a COO.
Okay.
I'm an operator. I just happen to have figured out how to build a level of awareness around me and a content infrastructure that is created a perception that is great, and I manage it and use it. But we look, we went from 30 people to 900 people in 7 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With no VC funding. So it's one thing to go there. It's another thing to go there on your own cash flow.
Right.
I'm proud of that.
And be able to maintain that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
You should be. So for AJ, so you like being the operator and playing a huge role in the operations. Did he?
Yes. And he's absolutely a COO type. And to his credit, when I came and became the CEO, we divided and conquered a lot, but we agreed that if we crossed paths, that I would make that final call. And that took a level of humility from him that I appreciate.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we're like, so last time I talked to you, I think we were 15 people or 25 people, and I don't like the operations.
That's great.
So I'm bringing my husband in.
That's awesome.
In March, and he is fantastic at it and will be much better than me.
Have you ever worked together? I don't remember, like in this kind of capacity? No, right?
No, he's
not
been
your own
helping
business.
me. Yeah, he's helped me a little bit here and there. But like you, we're like very fine line. So he'll shadow me for the first month, and then I'll start handing stuff off to him.
Awesome.
And we'll have very clear
as long as you over-communicate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which I know you're good at, I believe. I don't know him, but like as long as you over-communicate.
He's better than me. He tells me
Good.
I'm a 3.
Good.
So back to your family. So you have this, so AJ, you come back in, AJ's here for a little bit, and then you guys start Vayner Sports.
That's right. So I'm at Vayner from 09 to 11 a lot. Like I'm getting the new business. I'm in it, but no question, like I'm in it not to the level I am from September 11 to now. I'm like in it.
Okay.
And then I guess AJ left 3 years ago. 3 years ago, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, AJ comes in and says, I'm out in 18 months. I have Crohn's disease. I'm stressed.
Yeah.
This is too much, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So he, goes off the grid for a little bit and then comes back and says, I want to do the sports agency. I bought a sports agency along the way. And
use it or he
I
did?
did.
Oh,
I did.
you did.
Well,
Okay.
we did.
Okay.
I got the deal. I was like, hey, let's do this. We put up the money. And then I said, cool, like if you're going to run it, let's call it Vayner Sports. Let's go.
Right.
And he's like, let's go. And so, yeah, that was a tough period for me. It's always tough when a partner wants to leave a business.
Yeah.
Like it's complicated with money and finances. It becomes triple compounded when it's a relative.
Uh-huh.
It becomes quadruple compounded when it's your 11-year younger brother who's leaving out of a health scenario.
Right.
So there was a lot going on there.
And that is a less stressful environment for him and
Yes.
more where he feels, and he's running the show.
He's so happy.
And, yeah.
He's
Okay.
super happy.
Because I'm going to segue. So you have a sister.
Yep.
Will you do something with her?
Well, finally she's woken up and wants to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to. I don't
You're
know
digging.
her, but I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
I see she's doing real estate. And
She is.
So what was the deal there?
She, in hindsight, I think my sister grossly underestimated me over the last 20 years.
That's not true, is it?
It's super true, actually.
Okay.
My sister's my first fan. Like, she would roll around high school and be like, do you know who my brother is, when I had no high school clout. Like, so my sister is my first fan, and we're super close.
She's how many years younger?
3.5 years younger.
Okay.
But I think, to be frank, to be very transparent, I think she idolized my dad so much and maybe was close enough in age to me that she kind of somehow had the way Wine Library was built in her own mind different.
Okay.
Something's happened in the last 2-3 years where my sister's kind of woken up and said, wait a minute, like, why is everybody else in the world benefiting from my brother and I'm not?
me.
When I've been interested in helping.
Was she involved in...
She was in Wine Library
Library
for one summer for 6 weeks until she didn't listen to something my dad and I wanted her to do, and he fired her. That was the end of her career. She then went on to be one of the youngest managers ever at Victoria's Secrets, and then went into teaching, and then started a family and stayed home.
Okay.
Got itchy.
Yeah.
And is now in real
ready
estate.
to do something.
But my sister and I are very different. My sister, and I'm so proud of her that she's sharing this, my sister's insecure. My sister's not confident.
Let's talk about this.
So,
why? So you and your brother, do you feel like AJ was...
Yeah, AJ's super confident. I think my sister, my intuition is some way that her and my mom blended created a different insecurity. I can't audit it and say it's one or the other.
Yeah.
I think it takes two to tango. I think there's circumstances. I think her DNA, she's like, DNA's real.
It is. But I also think like it's just in a lot of families, the girls seem to be less.
But you'll appreciate this. My mom didn't do that. Like I know where you're going. I really don't think that's it. My mom was very much, she can do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
Like, and she was confident in a lot of places. Like to be a 19-year-old manager of a Victoria's Secret store.
Right.
She had it. I think honestly, she cares about other people's opinions
too much.
Way too much.
Yeah.
And I think she's finally crossed the chasm.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I'm very passionate about is letting the people around me speak for themselves. So this is about as far as I'll go with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's my hot take for the amount I'm willing to share. I don't know if we will. I mean, I'm super helping her right now. She's fine. Like, it's funny. I told her to do something a month ago. She basically said no. And then like an hour later, she's like, you know what? This has been my mistake the whole time. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to read it for you verbatim because it's ironic timing.
I love you.
It's ironic timing. She literally texted me about it today. Let me see if I can find it. She goes, thanks, bro. I'm loving this. Right? Mm-hmm. Then she said, thanks, bro. I said, keep it going. She goes, thanks, bro. Thanks for giving me this. I'm so happy. Really? And it was something that she like didn't want to do.
Right.
Which is, and you can follow her. She's doing it. She's
I do.
Basically
I follow her on Instagram.
Becoming the mayor of New Jersey.
Yeah.
She is going to small businesses every day and giving them love.
Yep.
The end.
I know, like, if I want to go to Jersey, I know where to go because of your sister's Instagram.
And she's got a lot. And she, more than AJ, is more similar to me from a personality on camera.
Got it.
Like, she has more gift of gab. Mm-hmm. AJ's more, actually, it's interesting because you could tell what my demeanor is right now. Yeah. Lower than my normal. Yeah. Because I'm in very operational mode. You can see, you spend enough time with me. Mm-hmm. So actually, I'll be honest with you. I wish I had more operational stress because I like this version of me. Sometimes when I do this, I'm like, this is an interesting, like, I'm being serious. Like, a lot of people are like, people are always like, I can't be successful. I'm not like you, Gary. I'm like, got to be honest with you. I believe as a net score, my personality is 12, 15% overboard, which is why it takes me time to win people over.
Right.
I actually think right now that I'm the 12 to 15% more muted version. I think it's the right balance of sizzle and steak. There's a level, like, even like hearing the way I'm articulating right now and the energy, it shows a little more of my smarts than my showmanship. And I think AJ skews that way. My sister has more showmanship. She can do it.
Yeah.
Whereas AJ could, but differently. Definitely doesn't want to. Yeah. And so it's going to be fun to watch Liz do her thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'll just say for, the people who say they don't like you, like, you are who you are. Who you are on camera is who you are here. You're like the most kind, humble person, and that's what kills me. And I knew that intuitively. Like, I think it's February, right? This is a year since I've known who you are.
Yeah, I think the judgment that's thrown at me is headline readers who, and by the way, I have empathy. Why would they spend 9 hours to really they see one or two pieces of content, and one or two pieces of content of me out of context is very, very, very capable for me to understand why somebody wouldn't like, I can come across disproportionately egotistical.
I guess. If you're not in it, but if you're in it,
like if you have no context and you see one clip where I'm like, you motherfuckers don't know shit. Like, okay, then that's it. Like, I get it. But like, the truth is undefeated. Like, this is just a matter of time.
And to that point, like I have consumed enough of your content now, especially like pod sessions. You really like endorse a lot of women, and specifically women of color. I don't even know if you know that, but like I counted how many people, like just on pod sessions, and I don't know if you're doing that just because it's innately who you're comfortable being around, or if you actually have a strategy around that and just how many women are here in the company. But I think it's great because I always look at people's, board of directors on their website, and it's all, old men, and I'm like, I've been in those situations before. There's no,
You're going to really appreciate this. This is the actual answer. I'm incapable of using the outer version of male, female, black, white, religion, race, or credence as, not that I'm a human. We all do it. But it's interesting. And actually, this was profound to me. I posted my second grade picture. Did you see that?
I did.
Did we talk about this?
No, but I remember the
I'm
diversity
blown away.
in the picture.
I was blown, like, I didn't notice it. And then there was 2 comments. This is why I read my comments. One is like, yo, that diversity, because it was crazy. It was black, white, Indian, Asian, girl, boy. It was really, and then it like started sparking emotions. I grew up in an incredibly good environment.
Yes.
Edison, New Jersey in and then the better one was, Gary V, you do know that you got your BBQ card because you went to Martin Luther King. Did you really? How, the one guy was razzing me. He goes, in a world where you're winning in hip hop and all this stuff, he's like, why didn't you just tell everybody you went to Martin Luther King Elementary School? I was like, fuck. I think it's a couple things. 1, it's subconscious. 2, I think those women are leaning into me.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I'm a counterpuncher. I'm busy.
Yeah.
So, by the way, it happens the other way too. Like, I had a meeting with my team this week and said to Andy, I said, Andy, the next 5 people we hire are women and minorities. Because I'm not going to dictate to him like that the last 6 people were white dudes.
Right.
I'm okay if every person, this is just like the world, you're going to have to own this. You're going to have to deal with what I'm about to tell you. I'm okay if every person that worked for me was a white dude, in the same way that I would care, I'd be super pumped if every single person that worked for me in this company was an African-American woman.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm disproportionately passionate about having as much of a mix as possible because you get different outcomes.
Absolutely.
But
ideas,
there's a lot, but I don't think I think it's psychographics more than demographics. I think I understand a lot about a lot of people that I don't look like.
Right.
So like, I don't look at an African-American male and say he doesn't understand. Like, what if if he grew up in Alabama and was the only African-American in his school and his whole cultural framework was, middle America Bubba, he might have a hot take on Bubba.
Yes.
Because he was in the cocoon.
Right.
I spent 4 years of college with 92% African Americans. Like, that probably is a factor. like it probably is a factor.
Absolutely.
So I think in this hypersensitive, judgmental world, we have to be very careful to judge. But that makes me happy. Like as I was just sitting and listening to you, and I do feel a sense of responsibility as my notoriety grows.
Yeah.
I do think my actions matter. And so for the first time in my life, I am pandering to something that I think is important. And I'll be very frank with you. I don't love it.
Okay.
I'm tasting it.
Yeah.
Because I've never wanted to waver from my intent. But I think there's a way for me to mandate and still keep the intent pure.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to learn. And by the way, I might wake up and hate it and go back to never telling anybody anything.
Right.
And just hoping and praying that it looks okay.
And I do the same thing. I'm looking around at like who the 25 people are.
Yeah.
And most of them are white, but I do, and I'm like, okay, let's make sure we...
The key is that you don't just hire somebody or co-sign somebody because they're black or Latino or Muslim.
Because they match your culture. They're kind, they're professional, they're forward-thinking.
The second you deviate from merit, you lose. However, the bullshit that people spew of being like, I can't find any good Muslim people, fuck you. And that's where I'm going with kind of like where I said to Andy, I was like, if it's harder, like for us, it's not harder because I do have such a diverse fan base. Yeah. So we should have no excuses, but I have empathy. If you're like country club, like I understand that some things may have tougher, but that's on you. Like then go give the keynote at Howard University to create awareness for your company.
Exactly.
Like you can be in control. And so I was thrilled. I mean, talk about, but I knew, but like I was thrilled when Claude came in here and said our pay across men and women, 0.3%. That was like probably the best day I've had, but I knew it.
Yeah.
And you'll never believe why I knew it. I had no clue because I'm not in the weeds on that.
Yeah.
I knew it because my core belief is that the intent from the top manifests in action.
100%.
I genuinely believe
100%.
that. And I just knew that it had to be right because years of experience were a bigger indicator. The end. Like we would never have somebody who had 7 years of experience who's a male make 40% more than a woman. Like it was just blindly years of experience. So this is an exciting time for this. I'm thrilled that we are so much more conscious, woke to this shit.
Yeah.
On the flip side, what I'm scared about is that people overcorrect for optics and fake it And that's a very 3.0 conversation. So I'm not really on it right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going there yet because I don't want to subside the momentum.
Yeah.
I'm worried that if I go to merit, well, that will make the wrong people being like, see?
Right.
Merit. Sorry. If you're not good enough. So it's a very complicated conversation.
The problem is that anytime you adjust, right, most of the time, this is what's wrong with our government, you adjust and it's like full pendulum swing to the other side instead of incremental.
We're in deep shit.
Right?
Just so everybody knows, let me put it on the record. The pendulums are swinging extreme.
Yeah.
I think the left side pendulum's going to go very aggressive. I think the counter to that 8 or 4 years later will go the other way. I believe we are seeing the beginnings of a scenario where we may have 4 parties.
If we
go that far.
We need it.
Yeah, because, it's amazing. Like, most people, first of all, most people are one-issues people. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm watching very good people, like, make very bad decisions on a single issue.
Right.
In both directions, by the way.
Yes, 100%.
So
my belief is like it's all the same party, just different ends of the party, right?
It's going to be an interesting era. Anyway.
So, about the pay thing, because you just made me think of something. What do you think about, like, having pay bands where, a certain qualification, not qualification, but group of people, like if you're an admin 1, everybody gets paid the same. Have you ever thought about that?
I think in ranges.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe because I was born in the Soviet Union, that communism scares me.
Okay.
Like everything the same scares me.
Okay, got it.
It scares me.
Yeah.
I think it's not human. So I think if like our admins make 45 to 65, or if the range is a little tighter, 45 to 52.
Sure.
It gives you the leeway to create a little bit of merit within a structure.
Got it. Okay. No, I like that. I think I have one more because I know you got to get out of here.
Well, this is like fun too, and I've got a few more minutes. Like what I like about this is like the answer I just gave you is an insight that I don't share ever.
Right.
Like it's really interesting. It's very hard for me to populate naturally myself details.
Okay.
I think details are meant for longer form, but I also like that was a great question, like a fun answer, like that probably helped somebody just now.
Right. That's what I'm looking to do with this podcast.
Yeah, it's
like
a functional,
practical stuff.
It's a functional thing. Let's do some speed round then.
Okay.
Or like when I say speed round, I see you have other things. Did we touch on them?
I think we touched on most of them. I think the only, I really...
Let me throw a couple things out then.
Yeah,
I'll spitball while you gather thoughts. One, you have too many businesses as they scale don't have a good sense of when they want to sell out or retire. Mm-hmm. I never want to do it. Thus, I'm always investing.
Okay.
Why have I been able to build very big businesses? Because I'm building them in perpetuity.
Yes.
Thus, I'm not trying to take money off the board, which means that I'm not getting de-incentivized, nor am I sucking the company dry, which doesn't allow me to overcompensate my employees.
And you've been able to, with your own personal brand, supplement your personal income that way.
Correct.
As well, which is like a huge strategy.
Correct. A huge thing for me, which I think is super unique and I don't think is a practical advice for everybody, but like, Jesus, if you can make your money in a way that allows you to be better to your audience and to your employees, you've got leverage. And that's what I have.
Right. Yeah.
So I think getting a sense of like, what are you actually up to is super important. Yeah. And if you're like, I love what I do, well, then you should invest in that beast forever. If you're like, I just want some money and buy a home in Jamaica and live there, well, then maximize it and squeeze it.
Okay.
And I think it's a very important thing. I just don't think most people know what they're doing. When I say know what they're doing, I mean macro. Mm-hmm. Like, why do you have this business?
Correct. And it doesn't need to be a super complicated answer to your point.
Is this a lifestyle business?
Or a legacy?
Is this a legacy?
Yeah.
Is this you want to make as much money as possible, flip it, and do something else?
Right.
Like if you are honest with yourself and everybody around you, employees will work for you if you tell them that you're going to drive everybody into the ground and flip it. Because some of them may say, well, I just need the fucking paycheck. Or they may say, oh, cool, I want to be flipped. Or cool, I just want to watch her do it, and then maybe I'll do it. Like, truth really is good. It's really, really good.
Will you ever go public?
Definitely not. I'm not capable of being a CEO of a public company. There'll be too many restrictions.
100%. I agree.
I'd fail. I'd be fired. I'd be fired by the board because the board would have to exist.
Right.
And I would never win a board.
And it seems like it's just like it's never enough.
And the
It's
only reason I
always-
would do it is because I want the cash of the IPO.
Right. Okay.
I'd rather sell it.
Then, so with the structure of VaynerX with these other companies, it has allowed you to take, because like one of my biggest things has been, I have all these other interests and I've had to put them in the parking lot and get heads down so I could build the foundation. And now I'm like, okay, I can go dabble a little bit over here. Will you ever sell off pieces?
Maybe.
For capital? Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not,
Yeah.
but I'm not against it if if Lindsay, who is, if she's running Vayner Talent and she's like, my bonus isn't enough anymore and I'm out unless we can sell it, I might look at it and be like, okay, see you, Lindsay, because Carl will take over.
Right.
Or I might be like,
I need her.
And it's not on strategy anymore.
Right.
Then I would sell it. If I need her and it's on strategy, then I'll bite the bullet and let her walk and try to replace her.
Okay.
But the scenario of person's burnt out or wants to do something else or wants to make a lot of money, and it's not on strategy anymore, would be the scenario that would make me say maybe.
Okay. Ever a instance where you would give an employee equity?
I have.
Okay. What do you mind? Not who you gave it to, but like what the parameters or what
it was
what
on the
consideration
upside
would
of the
be?
last when we bought Pure Wow, Ross put up dollars.
Okay.
And took a bigger percentage of VaynerX, and during that time established a very high valuation, which allowed me to give some equity to the most important people to participate in the upside off the base of this.
Right. See, I need to know how to do that.
You want to get to a place where the valuation is so good for you in your heart that you don't mind people getting upside because you feel whole. Before then, I didn't feel whole.
Got it. Last words. Does it get easier or quicker to scale when it's your second, third, fourth, fifth company? And
was it easier to kiss the second boy?
I don't know, Gary.
You know what I mean, right? Like it was scary as shit to kiss the first girl. The second girl was a piece of cake. But I mean that.
Yeah.
The first time swimming, scared fuckless.
Yeah.
Second time, easy.
Absolutely.
First time to ride the bike, scared shitless.
Fell off.
Second time, easy. First time to have sex, scared shitless. Second time, couldn't wait. Right? So these are all, and the reason I use those four, I think everybody listening can understand the four things 100%. I just said, which makes them say, oh my God, running the business second time is a piece of cake. It is. I mean, I moonwalk to 200 million in revenue.
Yeah.
Now I'm talented.
Yes.
But if your first business did 800,000, my belief is you moonwalk to 4 million.
Is there such thing as being too big? In terms of you continuing to acquire companies, is there like a cutoff in your mind for employees,
100%,
revenue?
100%. It depends on the appetite and stomach of the leader.
Okay.
The leader.
So for you?
Probably not. I'll probably die before I hit that move.
Okay.
Amazon's real big.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos has the stomach.
Yes.
The end. So it's the stomach of the individual.
Okay.
I'd be stunned if I have anything. I think it is emotional intelligence.
It is.
I think so. Or a superpower. So I don't think Steve Jobs disproportionately had a good emotional intelligence from what I've read and hear from a lot of people, but he was smart enough to surround himself with people that made it palpable, and then his superpower of product or surrounding himself with product and marketing product became why he was capable. So, Mindy Grossman at Weight Watchers, I've gotten to know her a little bit. Like, I don't think she'll ever have a company that's too big for her.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you for having me. Subscribe.
Thank you.
You can use that now every time.
All right.